Hi guys, welcome to the class. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about what are the earth compacting equipments and hauling equipments and what are hosting equipments. In today's lecture, we are going to discuss about the conveying equipment and what are the conveying equipment we have and different types of aggregates equipment and concreting equipments. What is conveying equipment? The transporting material from one place to another or a stationary structure, and it carries material in continuous stream with its distinct feature such as endless chain or belt. It can be done horizontally, vertically, or inclinedly. So, the transporting of material can be seen from one place to another or a stationary structure. The structure can't be moved and it cannot be it cannot transport any material from one place to some faraway places. It only designed to transport material from certain place to but to a particular distinct place. So these conveying equipments conveying equipments can carry continuously. It's like a stream with its distinct feature, such as an endless chain or a belt to collect to bring the material, to convey the material, and also to transport the material from one place to another place. It can be done horizontally, vertically, and also inclined positions. These conveying equipment can transport materials. When the equipment does horizontal conveying, it is known as conveyor, and when it does vertical, it is known as elevator. In so many malls and cinema theaters, nowadays we are seeing these elevators. They can uh, transfer the objects, the materials, the traffic from one place to another place vertically. So these conveyors, those are also a conveyors, an endless system or endless chains, and are they can transport these traffic from one place to another place, one floor to another floor vertically. So those conveying equipments are known as elevators, which we use in so many malls. And conveying are mainly used in mining, construction, and some of the industries. Conveying equipments are mainly used in the mining areas and also in the construction areas. In the mining areas, they can uh, bring out the materials. There is an endless chain that can travel from the start of this uh, mining area to the end of the outside of the mining area. These have bucket like structures or flat surfaces. They are filled by the mining material that has been dumped over this conveyor. These conveyor rollers can travel from far away to the out of the places where they have to be dumped. So these they act like a chain like structures, so they can move forward and so far they can travel these materials in the mining areas and also in the construction areas. In construction industry, conveyors are mainly used for concreting purposes. The utility of these conveyors, the main advantage of using these conveyors are to increase the output and to reduce the economic charges for the constructioner or the mining department. It facilitates continuity in operation. It results in time saving, and there are no waiting periods. It facilitates continuity in operation, so it can continuously convey these raw materials or the mining materials from one part of the place to the another place by continuously conveying. So there has to be this equipment is economical for the constructional areas, and also పంపించు సైన్ చేస్తా. And there are no waiting periods for the raw materials to be uh, attained. Some of the popular conveyors we are having are belt conveyors, screw conveyors, and bucket conveyors, and also aerial transport. In the belt conveyor, in the belt conveyor, they used to be large quantities of materials have to be conveyed over long distances at fast speed. It consists of a belt running over a pair of end drums or pulleys and supported at regular intervals by a series of rollers called idlers. So these belt conveyors we can see here, these belt conveyors can have a drum-like arrangements or drum-like arrangements or pulleys used to convert convert these raw materials, and they can produce an end-like chain, and they can transport these materials continuously throughout the period of time while mining or in the construction time. So, and it also having a slope of, these idlers are supported on conveyor frame. The middle sag provided in the belt prevent the spilling of material. Generally, rubber is most commonly used as conveyor belt because this rubber material can absorb loads, can withstand the loads, and cannot, these loads cannot be uh, filtered, cannot be moved downwards to the pulleys or drums and drums. So these rubber cushion like conveyor belts are used for belt conveyors. This is the diagram of the belt conveyor, and the transition distance between these belt conveyors, there is a slope, little bit of slope can be maintained on the conveyor belt. The advantage of using belt conveyor are it can handle lightweight as well as heavy materials, dry or wet, fine or coarse materials can be conveyed by using these belt conveyors. It can, and for distances to convey several thousand tons of materials per hour, and for distances of several kilometers. These belt conveyors are built to convey the raw materials or the materials, whether it is a dry or wet materials. They can be conveyed for large distances from one place to the another place. It can carry materials horizontally or inclined in positions. It is lighter in weight than other conveyors because a rubber cushion has been used in the belt conveyors to absorb the load, to absorb the load. It also gives controlled discharge of material, and discharge can be controlled by the speed of the belt. If the speed of the belt is slow, the discharge can be observed very slowly, and if the speed of the belt is high, the discharge can be seen heavily. So the raw materials that are deposited on the belt conveyors or the conveying belts, these are conveyed to the deposit point with high speed. So the discharge can be, the discharge can be controlled by the speed of the belt. And next, we have another type of conveyor, that is of screw conveyor. In this screw conveyor, these are widely used for handling granular or pulverized material. If the quantity of material conveyed is less compared to that of conveyor, but at the end, the same time, the cost is also less when compared to that of labor we used in the construction areas. If these conveyors are effectively used, the economic point of view can also be reduced by reducing the labor charges. A screw conveyor consists of a helix mounted on a bearing at the ends and at intermediate points and is driven by a motor from one end. In this screw conveyors, you can observe by watching this image. This is the screw conveyor. If the blockage can be observed, so there is a detector which identifies if any blockage has been identified in this section of screw conveyors. Inductivity, proximity, switch on or flow. So bearing temperature sensors, there is a sensor which is provided at the starting of the screw conveyors. They can monitor the temperature conditions and level detectors. If the conveyors that we are used in these sites or malls, whichever it may be, the levels should be monitored. The level detector which plunges or switch shoot blocked indicators. So if the level has not been maintained, so if the conveyor we are using, the materials we dumped on the conveyor has been of high levels, so those levels are cut down to form equal maintenance, equal leveled surfaces of the dumped materials. So the materials enters through at one end is carried to the other end by screwing action of helix. So the length of the conveyor is of about 65 meters. So when we compare the belt conveyor with the screw conveyor, the belt conveyor can expand, can extend for further distances where the depositing, where the loading and the dumping areas are far away from one another. The usage of labor that we reduce the cost, and in the economical point of view, it may uh, be very useful in the construction areas, and the speed of the moving of these raw materials from one place to another place can be increased in the mean time. So the length of this screw conveyor is about 65 meters with an inclination up to a maximum of 350. And next type of conveyor is bucket conveyors. It has buckets in the shape of V which are open at the top. They may be feeder loaded or may drag in a vertical movement or along an inclined positions. If the length of these type of conveyors are generally limited to 25 meters due to the weight of the conveyor and the strength of the chains. So these bucket conveyors have only a length of 25 meters because of the weight of the conveyor and depends upon the strength of the chains. If the strength of the chain is weak and the load has to carry in the bucket conveyor is high when compared to the strength, this may occurs in a failure of unloading of these materials. So if the to avoid these failures, the conveyors that we are using of bucket conveyors is of only 25 meters in length due to the weight of the conveyor and the strength of the chains. These type of conveyors is mainly used in coal handling where bucket elevators carry the material vertically. You can observe the image here, the bucket conveyor where the raw materials that we transport from one place to another place can be filled in these bucket conveyors. It is majorly used in the mining areas or mining departments that can mine the raw materials from uh, lower ground surfaces to the higher ground surfaces. So these bucket conveyors can only transport the raw materials for a particular distance and can only bear the limited loads because of the bucket conveyor strength and based upon the chain strength that is lifted upwards. So next one is aerial transport. In the aerial transportation through cableways, ropeways, and tramways, often used with advantage for transportation of material in hilly regions. We can see here this is the aerial transport. For majorly these type of transports we can observe in hilly regions. From top of the hill to the bottom of the hill, they can carry the loads easily and reducing the distance of transportation as well as the cost of transportations. If the load being passed over intermediate towers or stations for long distances, so these loads being passed over the intermediate towers or stations for long distances, they can transport the materials of heavy loads from one place to another place with ease if informed, and they can also maintain the economical balance, which is a reduction in cost can be observed with this mean of transport. In the aerial transport we cannot heavily arrange the uh, traffic from one place to another place. And moving on, aggregate and concrete production equipments. Previously we have seen about conveying equipments, and now we are going through aggregate and concreting equipments. So aggregates has to be produced at the site if the quality needed is very large, if the quantity needed is very large. In any project where concrete requirement is very high, an aggregate preparation and processing plant is essential to complete the concreting operations. If the aggregate manufacturing unit has to be placed at the particular site where the concreting of the construction purpose is necessary, if we transport these raw materials from a far distance, the cost of this construction may increase rapidly. So aggregate uh, these aggregate manufacturing, these raw materials has been transported from one place to another place, and these can be sized or verified in the construction site. If the aggregate production consists of two stages, it is recovery and processing. The basic material, such as stone, is recovered from a rock quarry or from the riverbed, and processing is done, which consists of crushing, grading, washing, and stockpiling of aggregates. These two processes, the recovery and the processing of aggregates. If the recovery of the aggregates is far from the site where the construction is happening, the transportation of these recovered materials, these raw materials for the aggregates, has to be batched towards to the site, and the processing unit has to be constructed near the site. So these recovered materials from the quarry or from the riverbed, these raw materials can be collected to the site, and then these raw materials are put forward for processing to get the required shape and size of the aggregates. Aggregate production equipment. So here the recovered elements of the aggregates, which are from the uh, quarry or from the riverbed, they have to be uh, processed. The production of these processing units has to be arranged, where the crushing consists of pressure, impact, attrition. A combination of these operations can be helpful while crushing of the raw materials of aggregates. The crushers are used mainly to reduce the size of large stone or rock to smaller and uniform sized aggregates, which are required for the concrete mix. The preliminary modification of the pressuring of these raw materials of aggregates is done by the jaw crushers. It is one of the primary crushers. It operates by allowing stone to flow into the space between two jaws, one of which is stationary and other is movable, which together constitute the crushing surfaces. Here you can see this is the image for the jaw crushers. This is the feed where the raw materials, the stone like the stones can be deposited here, and these rotating wheel, these electronic rotations can be cut down these raw materials which we feed into this. And here they have been different size, they have been cutted into, they have been molded to required shape and size, and can be discharged here itself. The sizing gap which we provide, if the aggregate size is of 20 mm, the size gap should be of 20 mm, the size gap should be of 20 mm. So the feed which we provide here, which is of high stones, which is of high stones, then they can be discharged downwards with required shape and size. The hydraulic rams which developed to cut these heavy stones into the required shapes. This is the crushing chamber, and this is the flywheel we are using for the constructional purposes. This is the moving jaw where it can move from one place to reduce the shape of and size of the aggregates. These are the adjusting wedges. So here are the hydraulic rams we have, and this is the discharge gauge. So these mobile jaw is capable of exerting a pressure sufficiently high to crush the hardest rock. So this mobile jaw is suspended from a shaft mounted on bearings on the crusher frame. The jaw plates are made of manganese steel, which can be removed or replaced or reversed, so that these jaw crushers plays a major role in the sizing and shaping of aggregates. And next crusher is of gyratory crusher. This is another type of primary crushers. This type of crusher comprises a hardened steel head and has a long conical shape with a trough shaft suspended in a bearing at the top and an eccentric base connection connected to gears. Thus, as the cone is rotated, the gap between itself and the walling changes from a maximum to minimum for each cycle. The rock is feed into the chamber at the top, and as it moves downwards, crushing is done and finally emerges through the bottom gap. The size of this type of crusher is the width of the receiving opening, measured between the concaves and crusher's head. So it is available in sizes varying from 20 centimeters to 200 centimeters. This is the gyratory crushers, where this is the crushing chamber, this is the concaves, and electric sleeve can be observed here, and this is the discharge opening, this is the outlet, where, and these are the bevel gates. And here we insert the raw materials, and this is where the shaft rotates and it breaks down the crushing chamber is this, and this is the also crushing chamber. We provide raw materials inside this gyratory crusher, and these crushing chambers with the help of this spindle or shaft, this reduces the size and shape of the aggregates. And these are, here you can observe, these are put downward through this, and a discharge opening is observed here. Next, cone crusher. Cone crusher are used as a secondary or tertiary crusher. These crushers are capable of producing large quantities of uniformly fine crushed stone. It has a shorter cone with smaller inlet and outlet openings as compared to the gyratory crushers. These cone crusher is having smaller inlet and outlet openings as compared to, similar to that of gyratory crushers. So this is the cone crusher. We feed the raw material that have lumps of stones here. Here we feed, and this is the cone. This is the crushing chamber where the stones we placed are being crushed, and to the desired shape and size can be discharged. This is the eccentric rotation. These are the concaves here. Here the sizing gap can be can be increased or decreased, depends upon the uh, required shape and size of the raw material. Next one is the roll crusher. These roll crushers are also one of the secondary or tertiary crushers. These crushers consist of a heavy cast iron frame equipped with two counter rotating rollers mounted on a separate horizontal shaft. These crushed rock from the primary crusher is fed through the gap between the two rollers for crushing further. Usually, one roller has a fixed axis while the other can be adjusted to give the required setting. The crusher is compact, lightweight, and low in cost. These roll crushers are the secondary or tertiary crushers. In the primary crusher, we have acquired the different shapes and types. Here those crushed materials have put forward into this roll crushers. We can You can see in this image these roll crushers can crush those primary aggregates into this, and they can have the minimum size required here. And the next one is hammer mill. Hammer mill is one of the impact crushers mostly used as primary or secondary crusher. It consists of a housing frame, a horizontal shaft extended through the frame, the number of frames and hammers attached to the frame, and one more hard steel breaker plates. As the stone is fed into the mill, the hammers inside the mill, which are driven by a motor, move at the high speed and break the stone into pieces and driving them against the hard plate, further reduce their size. Here this is the hammer mill. Here this can be used as the primary or secondary equipment for crushing up of stones. So here is the casing that is provided to safeguard the hammer mill. This is the rotor and rotor shaft. These are the hammers which are fixed to the rotor shafts, and these are grates, uh, grating plates. Here the crushed aggregates can be grated from these, and they can be discharged out. So this hammer mill can be used as primary or secondary crushers. In the primary crusher, the crushed aggregates which we uh, formed from the primary crushers can also be put into this hammer mill, and this hammer mill will fixed with a motor having hammers. This motor rotates and the hammer hits these primary crushed aggregates to desired size and shapes. Here we get, this is the grate where the aggregates um, can be discharged, depends upon the grate we fixed. And rod mill and ball mill, these are the territory crushers. A rod mill consists of a circular steel shell. The interior of the shell is lined on the inside with a hard material wearing surfaces. The shell contains a number of steel rods. The length of these rod is slightly less than the length of the shell. The length of these rod is slightly less when compared to the length of the shell. The crushed stone is fed through the inlet, and fine aggregate of the size of sand is discharged at the other end. If the rods are replaced by steel balls, if these rods are replaced by steel balls to provide the impact required to grind the stones, the crusher is known as ball mill crushers. If the rods which are used in the rod mills can be replaced by balls, these uh, balls can grind the stones, and the crusher with the balls we provide is known as the ball mill crusher. The size of the balls generally used is 50 mm dia in size. This is the rod mill and this is the ball mill. So here we are using these steel balls to grind these aggregates which are feed inside the ball mill, so they can move and hit the stone materials hardly, and they can break these aggregate into pieces, and these are moved to the discharge side and can be collected over those concrete production plants. For mixing different ingredients in required portions, it consists of storage bins for storing materials like cement and add mixtures. The aggregate is mixed in it with the help of a hopper which is fixed in a plant. The concrete, this is the production plant of concrete. Here the aggregate batching plant can be seen here. We feed the aggregates of different sizes and they can be batched depends upon the size and size of the aggregates. These then move to the concrete mixer where the cement storage silo is also be used in the concrete mixture. They both can rotate these aggregates, cement and fine aggregate, into a mill like structure mixer. So some amount of water has been induced into the mixer to get the output of concrete pile driving equipment. The process of pile driving involves lifting the piles into position, holding it to refusal or to a specified depth. The driving is accomplished through hammering the pile top with a hammer. The equipment are so designed for driven effectively at an economical cost. The major pile driving equipments are pile driving rigs and pile driving hammers. The pile driving equipments are, this is the rig arrangement, pile driving rotary drill rig and pile driving machines. Thank you. Meet you in the next class. In this lecture, we have seen about what are the conveying equipments we have and different types of uh, aggregates, crusher equipments, and batching up of concrete. So, in this lecture, we have seen that conveying equipments we have belt conveyors, screw conveyors. So, overall, the belt conveyors are the best with far distance capable of discharging raw materials which we dump on the conveyors from one place to another place. These inclined conveyors which acts as, which called as elevators, which we have seen in these malls and cinema theaters. So finally completed the class, and thank you. Meet you in the next class.